Hello peeps, I've not done a video for a while because I've been busy doing other people's gardens, but things certainly are growing at an alarming rate. I don't know if anyone out there is experiencing the same. Things seem to be really growing fast this year. Maybe it's because we had a slow start because of the late spring, I don't know, certainly round here anyway, we had all that snow. But yeah, things really have caught up, and good grief, the growth, particularly in this polytunnel, is nothing short of miraculous. I'm looking at this mango tree over here and it's just getting bigger by the day. The grapevine's huge, well not huge, but it's getting huge, going to be huge. And the cherry tree you can see behind me, and the peach tree as well. So there's going to be a lot of pruning going on at the correct time of year. But yeah, so what I thought I'd do is take you around with me and I'll show you what's happening. I'm going to be doing some instructional videos soon, you know, how to grow this, how to grow that, and what I really want to do this year is have a good focus on winter vegetables, things that you know, can be consumed during the winter months, because when it comes to this time of year, and a little bit earlier in the case of broad beans and things, it's much easier to feed yourself when the weather is fair, as opposed to when it's really cold and there's frosts and snow and things like that. So it could be an interesting thing to focus on. But let me take the camera and show you around. Right, taking the camera off the tripod, so you can just see, look, as I pan the camera around, I'm going to have to do a little bit of trimming up here, look, because you could see that this cherry tree is going to break through the polythene of the polytunnel if it carries on. What I'm thinking about doing is like training it up and over like that. I think that would be cool. And for some of you out there who are probably thinking, why ever is he growing that cherry tree in the polytunnel? Well, to protect it from the birds, and I like to be a little bit experimental with the way I grow things, and commercially they generally grow cherries in polytunnels now simply because less likely for the birds to get them. So yeah, look at that, and look at all this magnificent growth. Look where my finger is there, look, all the way to there, that's this year. So maybe that'll be the bit that I train up there. I don't know, but I'm not going to do that right now, but all projects for the future. And I'm just going to park this camera up here. Look at that mango tree. You see them lovely new leaves, look. I mean, literally, they've appeared within the last week. Look at them. Almost avocado-like, isn't it, really, when you look at it? But looking after this very well, I'm watering it with rainwater, because I've been told by Chris on Grow Tropical UK or Go Tropical UK, whatever the channel is. It's a very good channel, and if I remember I will link it down below. Don't water these with tap water too much because it can cause the leaves to go brown, so started to water it with rainwater now from the water butt. So yeah, very happy with how that's come out. And I mean, look at this. Hi, this cherry tree is this peach tree is fantastic, and it's really not going to be long before I get some peaches off of here. It's not carrying the same size crop that it was last year, but I'm not expecting that because it was a very heavy crop, and it really has spent a lot of energy in growing, which is good because the tree is going to be bigger and there'll be more shape for me to work with. I want to you know, train this or whatever. I might even train it up and over or whatever, still deciding what I'm going to do. But last year was its first year in situ here, and it seemed to concentrate a lot of its efforts on getting its boots down, getting its roots in, which is really good actually. And this year it's just went pow. So very happy. Let's see if we can get some close-ups of some of the fruit. The variety is Dixie Red, by the way. Okay. Right. One peach there, look. Try and get you in focus. There you go. And here, the baby one on there. Here as well. There's quite a cluster of peaches there, look. It's all looking quite nice. Looking up into the tree, looking up into the canopy of the polytunnel here, can really see this exotic theme, if you will, that I'm going for in here starting to materialise a little bit now. And of course, as with most things that I do, it's a project in the making, and I'm quite happy with the ambience that I'm getting from this polytunnel. Hiding over here, I've got the orange tree. We won't focus too much on that at the moment because you can't actually see it that much. But yeah, so that's pretty good indeed. Now, looking down here in the polytunnel, you can see the different varieties of melons that I've grown. Now, the melons were a bit of an afterthought this year. If you're interested in the melons I've grown before, I've got a playlist on growing melons and growing tropical plants in the UK, so check that one out. Not sure if they're going to make anything, but I'm not worried anyway. And what I'm probably going to do is grow a lot of winter vegetables in here once these have finished, which I'm very happy with. I've got some cucumbers here, I've got Market More here, and I believe it's Telephony, or whatever it is, F1. So starting to get some little cucumbers here, look, starting to form there. So yeah, once these have cropped, plants will come out, and all being well, I'll have some winter vegetables, maybe some kale, a lot of Swiss chard, might even grow some Chinese cabbage, ready to put that straight in. But yeah, I'm quite happy with how these are coming on. The climbing cucumbers at the back and the ones at the front, the Market More, should just trail, so should get some good crops off of there. And here, this is the one. Now, the grapevine variety Autumn Royal, look at the much growth this is put on. Now, one good thing about growing things in a polytunnel, grapes, etc., is the extra heat will act as a catalyst, and you can see the humongous amount of growth that this has put out. And what I'm going to do, probably in the winter months, is train it, maybe into a cordon or something like that, and I may even get some grapes off of this next year. So looking forward to that if that materialises. So polytunnel, I think, is pretty cool, and if you come in here during the day and you put a little bit of water in here, the steam, do that, and the way the water falls on you almost feels like a little bit tropical, which is kind of a sort of thing I'm trying to recreate, with the mango tree and the orange tree. I know a peach isn't a tropical fruit, but it is classed as exotic, as grapes can be classed as exotic. So Dan's exotic polytunnel, well underway. No, I keep saying it, these geraniums that I grew from seed are fantastic, but really got to plant these out. I might even overwinter these so they get rather large. Looking forward to that, because I think geraniums, when they get to a good size, really can look lovely, especially if they get large flowers on them. And here, some of the pansies that I grew from seed. Look at that, starting to flower now. So all pretty good. And what else now? Grapevines. Now, this was a cutting that I took. There you go, nice. Starting to come to life there. These ones are a bit behind, but you can see little buds on them still there. Under here, more cuttings. Look at that, doing well, doing well, doing well, doing well. I've got white currants, red currants, and grapes under here. Not so bad, still alive, I'm glad to say. So yeah, keeping these moist. I'm keeping them a little bit in the dark here because I want them to hold the water really, because they need to be kept moist, particularly so in their first year, whilst the root structure is establishing. Sweet peas. I think I've got the flower on My first flower on a sweet pea, hang on. There you go. First sweet pea flower of the year here, very happy about that. I had the first garden meal, and it was some of this kale, and very nice actually. It's nice and soft at this stage, and it's really quite nice to eat. I like it with apple cider vinegar, and I find it really lovely when you start to get your first crops of the spring plants that you set. And cucumber here won't be far off, giving some crop. Plenty more kale here. Sweet corn is doing well, as is the spinach. I find these great, these particularly in the wind, when these windmills go round. I like these. Can keep the birds away when the wind is going round, and adds a little bit of flamboyancy to one's garden, doesn't it? So I'm starting to get some crops here of strawberries. I've got Symphony, Honey O, Cambridge Favourite, quite a few here. They're actually very sweet. Might start to I might pick a load of these actually. Might have enough for a bowl of them. Yeah, look. The strawberry season can be very fleeting, can't it? But it is nonetheless nice when it indeed comes. And one thing I do like about growing strawberries in these tubs is, although that's not ideal in many ways because of the sheer volume of water that they really take when they are cropping like this, but they hang over the sides, and I shouldn't say it, but the birds and the slugs haven't really liked these too much this year, which I'm quite happy about. Yeah, not a bad strawberry crop considering they're grown in these tubs. I might look to expand my strawberry crop as time goes by. Might even take some runners from here, but as we are, no problem. So the allotment patch here is really coming into its own, and the gooseberries and black currants that were dug up have really started to come into their own, despite the fact they were ripped up at totally the wrong time of year. But nice crops here of black currants, and it makes me think of Ribena when I think of those. The gooseberries over here, some of these have done better than others. Some may. Even be ready, but they're very small, probably because certainly didn't help them being ripped up, but the plants have survived, and that's the most important thing. So yeah, not bad actually. Hopefully for next year we should bounce back well. Yeah, look. Nice. On the face of it, the black currants took the move better. The cucumbers that I've got set in amongst them, these have done well, and hopefully will continue to do well. Little things you can do to, you know, grow a lot of things in a relatively small space. But let's look in the patch and see what we got. There you go. Courgette down there. Courgette forming there. Courgette there. Tomatoes. Got tomatoes forming. See all them look? Should be absolutely beautiful, really. I'm expecting a lot of crop off of them. I've not worried too much about tying them up, as you could see, and my reasoning for that is I'm not going to budget the time to do that, and sometimes I like to just, you know, let things go naturally and see what happens. And I often think that I was told this, that leaving a little bit of closeness in the proximity of the setting of the plants can be very good, in the sense of it helps to keep the ground moist, to hold the moisture in. You know, could be true, could be a load of old poppycock, but at the same time it suits my argument well, so I'm going to go with it. Here, look, the runner beans are set for crops of epic proportions. Now look, lovely flowers, so hopefully in a month or so there'll be some good runner beans. So Dan's crazy garden is incredibly up to date in the sense of how it's doing, I am glad to say. Now remember this, I took it last year I believe, Allotment seedless grapevine cutting, got to, they were taken last year, so I've got to think about somewhere to put them in the ground or in a pot, but I'll probably end up put them in the ground in the dormant season. Over here, now this is very much something, a crop very much worth growing, Raspberries. Now you want to look into these, they fruit on last year's growth, and they don't half put out some growth in a year if left alone. And if you want to get a good crop of soft fruit relatively quick, these may well be the thing for you. Now they can get a bit out of hand. You see, like this, look, this is a bit of growth from this year. It's grown from my foot here all the way up to there, so it's about 1 metre or so, and the growing season's still got a long way to go. So that's where the fruit will be next year, and I'll probably cut these off. So a bit of maintenance required, but look at how beautiful they look, and you really can see they're really, here we go, there's one here, they're at their nicest when they are, you know, a deep purple. And I like these. They tend to fruit a bit before these summer fruiting raspberries, and a little bit before your gooseberries, so it can be a nice early fruit. And if you had, you know, a few of these bushes, you could have a lot of soft fruit very early in the year, which doesn't require a massive amount of skill to grow. So these are a good thing to grow, and very easy to propagate. I've got a video on how to propagate these loganberries and blackberries. Easy to propagate and very nice crop. I could easily eat the whole lot off of here, as you can probably tell. So yeah, Raspberries. So there you go, that is but a fraction of some of the things that are going on here. So really really happy with how a lot of things are turning out. So yeah, it's quite nice at this time of year when you can start to see the fruits of your labours, quite literally, of things you set in the spring or set last year. So very good indeed, and I feel as if I'm going through a sort of, I don't know, what do you call it, a transitionary period with regards to the things that I'm growing here in the garden, how I'm sort of approaching life in general, really. Because one thing I find about gardening is you can really put a lot of yourself into it, and to a degree, if you let yourself go with what you're growing and with what's coming out, you really can achieve some great things. You can grow something that's a little bit different, like mangoes. You can have a go at that's whether you can get it to fruit or not, it's another matter, but have a go at some grapes, things like that. And I think that it can be really nice because there's a lot of heritage attached with so many of the things that we grow. For instance, the Romans that were in the UK thousands of years ago, found grapes, very, very important part of their culture with regards to winemaking. You think about if you've spent a bit of time in the tropics, as I have. You think about some mangoes. If you've been in the Mediterranean, maybe you think of growing a few oranges, and it can be nice to just get maybe a little bit of that feeling that something gave you whilst you were there. To get a little bit of that feeling here can be very, very nice indeed. That's my opinion anyway. And so much with regards to gardening, and maybe something from your childhood that you really loved. Maybe a loved relative had a particular clematis in their garden, or maybe a particular tree, or a particular, not particular anything really, and you can maybe help to recreate that in your own environment, and almost to a degree build yourself like a little sanctuary where which you can come and relax. And of course, now if you're working 5-6 days a week, or if you've got a very stressful job, and you can just spend a little bit of time just reflecting, and to have a almost like a meditation, if you will, of where you can just sit and contemplate and think. I think that can be very good, and to a degree gardening can be very, 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 very healing. Just to sit and think and see the different colours of some of the lovely flowers that you've grown, and you think of some of the food that you've grown and how beautiful and nutritious that food will be, and you're eating it. You've not sprayed it with anything nasty. The soil that it's grown in, you've created and made it beautiful and nutritious soil, and you then take that food in, and it'll then help to nourish yourself. So very, very good indeed. And with regards to things a little bit different, a chap left a comment on my mango video the other day, and he has managed to get a mango tree to fruit here in the UK. I believe his name is Ian Simpson, and what I'll do is I'll link that video down below. You want to check that one out, because getting a mango to fruit in this country, in my opinion, is quite a feat, because we just don't have the right climate. And myself spending time in the tropics when I was a little bit younger, I think it's lovely to have a mango here to just have a little bit of that. So yeah, this chap's done very, very well indeed to manage to get it to do that, and I think he deserves a lot of credit. So view the video and send him your congratulations, because that's quite an achievement indeed. So I hope you enjoyed that update. Going to hopefully get back onto more regular videos once work quietens down a little bit, but so much to do. Produce is starting to come now, and all in all, my little sanctuary, if you want to call it that, in here of my Dan's wacky tropical, what word am I looking for? Dan's tropical polytunnel. Take care and see you soon.